crafters! So these are the 3 cards we're going to make today. A very simple and quick birthday card. The second one, very simple at the front, but it has pop-up presents on the inside. I'll teach you how to make them. And the third, the most special one. Again, very simple at the front, but when the recipient opens it, it launches confetti everywhere. So I'll teach you how to make this device, contraption, I don't know how to call it. Basic shaker card you can make, and I'll give you a very simple idea that you can use to make any cards very, very quickly. I'm making birthday cards today because I can always use more of those, but you can make them for any kind of occasion. What I've done ahead is I have my card base here, and I got 1 panel of like a nice color of cardstock. You can choose, if you're going to make a card for someone specific, you can use their favorite color. I really like this one, so I chose this one. And then I just used a die to cut a panel from the inside, but I'm going to use both of them to make my card. If you don't have a die or a die cutting machine, you could just use a ruler and a craft knife. I've done them many, many times, and cut your inner panel. You can trace the dimensions that you want on the back very lightly, and then you can cut it from the back. As long as you do like several cuts on the same place, you will end up with a very clean cut on the end, and then you can save both pieces, and we use both of them to make our card. Once you take it down, you can just remove the frame. I'm going to leave it to the side for now. The glue can dry, and we're going to work on the frame. I already cut a piece of acetate that I'm going to use. I'll just need a bit of adhesive. You could use liquid adhesive, but because I already have my double-sided adhesive here, I'm going to just use that. And I'll show you a hack for how I like to use my double-sided adhesive to make sure that I'm always placing things nice and straight, because I have a serious problem of eyeballing and not sticking things down straight. I'm going to press it down. I'm going to lift the corners of the adhesive, same side for each section. So once I have all 4 corners lifted, I can just bring whatever I want to line up. Make sure that I'm happy with the placement. Hold it down, and then you can just pull the rest of the adhesive, and it should not shift or move anymore. This one, if it moves or shifts, it's not a big problem because you could trim it down before you use it, but I'm showing you because it's a cool hack, I think. Now I can add some sequins, or I'll leave that to the side again, and now I need to add the foam adhesive. So you can use any dimensional adhesive you have. I have loads of this one at the moment. What I do is I save the backings of my adhesive when I use it, especially for these ones. I'm going to lift some of this tape, and I'm going to place the adhesive here. Now this one has a lot of dimension, so I don't double up, but if you have one that has less dimension, by all means feel free to double up if you want to. Also, my shaker bits are very flat. I don't think or feel that I need more dimension for these ones. This is what I do. If you have very good non-stick scissors, you don't need this, but mine get icky, and I don't like to use them like that because I double up on the paper. You can now cut it, and you're not going to have the adhesive sticking to your scissors. Trim it down in half. And then I'll put it kind of closer to the inner edge instead of the outer one, just because I don't want my sugars to have extra space. I'm going to use my stamping tool to make sure that I'm going to line up my edges. I'm going to put this right against the corner. One thing that you could do that helps a lot is get your anti-static bag or powder and just run it along the inside to make sure that your sugar bits are not going to get all stuck along the edges. And then I'll remove the backing from, and we're just going to make sure that the other one is in the corner. This one goes right in the corner as well, and they should line up. Well, press it down before you move it, yeah. There we go. It's now coming out more. I'm pretty happy with it. It looks like a shaker card. For this one, I'm going to do something very simple to decorate. For one directional element down is that you open your card base and make sure that it's opening the right direction, because you will be surprised how many times I've stuck myself upside down and only found out at the end. I'm just going to use this sentiment liquid glue on the back of this first piece. I'm using white glue for this one. I just need to put some weight and some pressure on it. And in the meantime, I can put glue to the back of the other part. You can see I'm not adding too much glue. Move this slightly. Should be okay. Just gonna double check. And I'm just gonna leave this to the side while it dries. For this one, we're going to need like a lighter weight piece of cardstock to go inside, and you can use a second lighter weight because you're going to double up, where you need a second piece to go on the outside. I chose these two shades of blue. I'm just going to score this one and this one. What I like to do for this one is, because this has to go inside of this, I like to double check that they will fit. See, I need to trim it down. Because I'm using a lighter weight cardstock, I might be able to cut it folded. We'll find out. No, it did. And a tiny bit of this side. And we check it again. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Happy with this? For this one, you can use the inside to make a pop-up, and you can make it either into a tiered cake, or in our case, we're going to make a pile of gifts. I want to measure the size of the gifts that I have. Already I cut these. What I want the inside to be is, forgive my cards, this is just printing paper, guys, just so I can use it to make a template. So I could make it like this. But I think I really want it like this. Yeah, I think this is better. Could make the presents the same size as mine just by cutting some rectangles or squares and using them as gifts. But as I said, you can also make it into a cake, you can color, you can paint, you can make it your own. I want this to be centered instead of measuring it. I'm just going to eyeball it, because why not? Leaving on the edge, right? An approximate measurement of where I want them. And their height, which is 3.5. I'm going to actually trace inside of those markings that I made, because I want them to be slightly smaller than the gifts. The back is not that visible. So if you have like a tiered cake or something like that, you can use the same process to create a pop-up element for whatever die cuts you already have. So I do suggest and encourage you to try to use what you have to make these cards. So for this one, I can just measure it right here. Again, the height. Oh, 2.5. I measured everything and I added the measurements here for you. Let me just see if I can lift this for you to see. My base is 3 inches or 7.7 centimeters. The height is 1/3/8 of an inch or 3.4 centimeters. And then the smaller element is 1 1/8 of an inch on the base, which is 2.9 centimeters. And on the height, it's 1 inch, which is 2.5 centimeters. If you have the measurements, you can center it however you want. You can measure it to make it perfect. I don't really care about perfect. I just eyeballed it. We're just gonna get a pair of scissors and we're going to cut along this line and this line. We're not gonna cut here. Here I want to actually score the line. For scoring, I mostly use a ruler. I like to use a clear ruler and an empty pen. Empty pen is a treasure, crafters. If you have them, if you have a good roller pen, I guess, save it. This one has been with me for decades. I absolutely love this pen. I've had it forever. When I make my videos about vellum cards, I'll show you how handy this too can be. Here we're just going to score along this top line. When you do it on the card, make sure that you actually open this so you don't score the other side here necessarily, because this side we're actually going to use both. For the next one, we don't want to score both sides at the same time. All we're going to do is push this in a way that this folding line folds the way it was before, and the other two lines, the scoring lines we created now, fold on the inside of the card. So that's our first tier, and we can measure it to make sure that it's going to suit. When you open the card, we will have these two gifts here, so I made it slightly smaller for the backing not to show. I am pretty happy with this. Don't know if you guys can see it well, but yeah, I'm happy. And then we can do the same thing for the second element. You're going to hold it, I just want you to see on the inside, to make sure that you cut this layer and this layer at the same time. You cut along those two lines again. And then I'm going to open it this time. My element is not, I'm not going to score here and here. I want this part to be clear and clean. Alright, fold that back. And I'll push this part in. And then we can just fold it. Now, I like to do this on a template first, one, because I can reuse this template over and over to make other cards in the future. So I save my templates in a folder. And also because from this template, it will be so much quicker and easier to do the other one. We'll take back this inside piece. This is where our final base will be. And we're just going to unfold this and transfer this onto here. You can just put the card inside. Use your pencil to mark those lines between the cuts that you've made. And then I'm just going to start scoring here so I can see the markings on the other side. And we can remove it. I don't know if you guys can see it on the video, but in real life I can see this perfectly. I'm going to trace it back, the cutting lines. And this one to make sure it's straight. And I'm going to score the next line. Open it and reinforce it on this side. It doesn't matter that you're tracing on the back, because once you stick it down, no one will see this. We do have the other card base that will hide this. Just gonna cut and fold the bottom ones. And reinforce the folding here on this side. We'll just push the middle part inwards, fold it. Now we'll cut the top tier. Our last line. I'm going to press it down. This is when you open it. Now I'm going to stick this down on the card base. Don't add any glue to the pop-up area, just stick down the area around it and you should be fine. This is ready. I'm happy with it. You could just add something simple here to make this the front of your card. I had already made a panel last night because I wanted to give it some time to dry, and this is going to be my front panel. This one is ready. All I need now is a sentiment. For our third and final card, this is the one that will take you the most time, that will be the most invested one. But it is quite simple and straightforward. We are going to create a contraption for the inside of our card, and I wrote the measurements down for you. You just find the middle point and you fold all 4 pieces to the middle point, to the center point, and it's going to end up looking like this. I made mine out of vellum. There we go. I have a couple of ones already made and ready to go. And the second one that we're going to need is a strip that is... I can show you how I usually do it. So I use a clear ruler and an empty pen. If you don't have a scoring board, this is like the easiest way to do it, and you don't need money, and it's probably stuff that you already have around your house. I run it back and forth a couple of times, and you can see that you're going to get some very sharp and crisp folding lines. We're just going to trim down the very corners here. I've used cardstock because I really wanted to use acetate, because I didn't want this to be kind of seen against the background of my card. But the acetate I had wasn't heavyweight enough, so if you have like a sturdier acetate, by all means use that instead. At the moment I don't, so I could double up, but I'm gonna use the cardstock because then you guys can see better. All we're gonna do now is we're gonna fold. It doesn't matter which edge it is, we're just gonna make 2 tiny holes. It's gonna be only one of the edges, so if I start from this one, I'm gonna do over on this side of the middle, the center square. So if you start on this side, the other 2 will be here, right? But because I start here, I'm gonna skip this line and do the next one. This is just so we can put our elastic later. I'm just gonna cut through. And then I do have a small rubber band here, twist it, and then I'm gonna put my fingers inside. With these fingers I'm gonna grab this one, and with these fingers I'm gonna grab this one, and just get a knot in the middle. And then we're just gonna put the elastic here. Oh, actually, before I do that, I forgot to add the double-sided adhesive. I wouldn't use liquid adhesive for this one. I mean, you can if you want to leave it overnight to dry, by all means give it a try, but this is the stuff I trust because it's strong, and once you put it down it will be ready straight away. We're gonna add to the 2 tabs on both sides, and then to the center square. I just like to press it down to make sure it's not going to lift when I remove the backing. And then we'll try this again. I'm going to put half over there and half on the other side. I hope you can see this. The knot will be on the inside, and these will go along the folded lines. We'll remove the adhesive from the center square. And we'll add our vellum piece to it. It should match. Okay. All we need is our card base. I prepared this one earlier. It has to be a top folding card base. It has to fold on the longer side because of the dimensions that we used. If you want to shrink this down and recalculate the sizes and the dimensions, by all means, go ahead and do it. Every time I have to do it, I've recalculated myself. But because of the space we have here, you cannot use this in any other way. You could be side folding if it opens this way. So you could stamp it with a different orientation like this. But for these dimensions, you won't be able to use it opening sideways if it opens on this side. That's the only thing. I'm going to calculate where I want it to go. And I think it's going to go here. I'm just going to fold this tab around. Remove the backing of the double-sided adhesive from both tabs. I'm going to place it down. I'm just going to use my file folder to make sure they are stuck down. But because it's very strong, double-sided adhesive, there should be no issue. Fill the vellum container with our pieces. I did cut these down with these kind of paper punchers. I cut them from different colors. I have golden balloons, teal flowers. These ones have a bit of a gold sparkle. You could also use just the inners of your letters or other die cuts. This one, these ones actually, there are a few of them. They came from these pieces. They're used on the presents from our previous card. And I have a few here that are from a background die that I used a while ago. Just gonna fill our container with those little bits. I'm using these ones, I forgot to say, I had to cut them from vellum or lightweight cardstock because I don't want them, like if you use something heavyweight, you'll probably have to use less pieces, and I wanted mine loaded. Just bear in mind that you should be doing this after you write on your card. So you could write here, here. I would personally use this side of the card to write my message. After you write your message, put your bits and pieces, your confetti, swing it over to the opposite side, hold it down, and hold it with your background. Put it into the envelope. Once the person receives it, they will take it out of the envelope and open it.